Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you today. It's 5:30 a.m. my time, so this is a great way to get my Friday morning started, talking about a topic that I absolutely love. For those who don't know me, my name is Jornay Armand. I'm also known as the Savvy Educator, and how myself and your instructor, your teacher know each other is through an educator community. Community is everything, and with community, you can learn and grow and get new perspectives from people all around the world. So I'm very thankful for your teacher for reaching out to me and leveraging his community to be able to talk about important topics with you.
Good morning, ma'am. This is
Good
Husnia.
morning.
I am Husnia, an eighth grader. Glad to meet you, ma'am. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, you may, Hasinia.
How can AI be effectively integrated into classrooms without replacing human teachers?
So, Cynia, that is an amazing question, and a question that a lot of educators were, I would say, in fear of when they first heard about AI. Like, is AI gonna take my job away from me? But I can tell you, as someone who has worked in education, as a teacher, as an instructional coach, as an administrator, and also someone who helped other people understand how to use technology in their classrooms. And now my work is in AI and innovation now. I see that AI works best as what we call a co-pilot, right? Not by yourself. AI has to be used with a human in the loop, okay? A human in the process, right? It starts with the human. The human gives an input to the AI tool. The AI tool gives an output, but then once again, it's up to the human to determine what is best, right? And so AI can maybe help with things like grading for teachers and maybe generating questions and lessons for teachers, or maybe even offering feedback for students. But one thing that's super special about teachers, and I'm sure you know this about your teacher, there's a emotional connection there with the teacher that you just can't get with an AI tool. And also, your teacher is super creative. So, when it comes to AI in the classroom, there's no way that an AI tool can ever fully replace what a teacher can bring, which is that emotional connection, the mentorship, the really understanding who you are, right? So teachers won't ever be replaced, in my opinion. Thank you so much for asking your question,
Ma'am,
Hasinia.
how are you?
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. What about you?
I am well. I'm so excited to be here today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. My name is Nitvika. I am an 8th grader from GPHS School, Iloram. Here, I am so lucky to interact with you, ma'am. Can I ask you one question?
Yes, you may. Thank you.
What ethical consideration arise from using AI to track student performance and behavior?
All right. Thank you so much, Nivia. Um, I definitely want everyone to know that when you start thinking about AI, you always have to think about ethics, right? Because these are tools that have been created by humans who also have to always think about ethics in anything that we do, right? So, in my work promoting what we call responsible technology, I try to emphasize that AI can collect helpful insights, like maybe helping teachers to identify struggling students earlier so that they won't struggle, for a long time. It can also help, meet the needs of students. But we also have to think not only about these beautiful things AI can do, but we also have to think about the risk that comes with AI. Like maybe judging a student unfairly based upon information, or breaching a privacy concern, right? If it's not utilized carefully. So that's one thing as a presenter. I have to make sure educators know not to put personal identifiable information of their students inside of a tool because we need to protect our students' privacy. And then also, once again, there is bias within AI systems. So a teacher has to really think through, is this response that I'm receiving fair to my students? So here's an example. Imagine an AI system that maybe says that you're not focused because you didn't look at the screen. Would that be fair? Because you can focus in so many different ways, right? But maybe you were just thinking deeply. You know, sometimes I look down when I think, right? Or maybe I look up when I think, and maybe I'm not looking straight at the screen. And if an AI system is utilizing that focus means that the eyes are straightforward all the time, then that's not fair to the student who might be thinking deeply or processing an answer. And that's something that we call bias that's within a system that really doesn't understand it. Okay, so here's an analogy. So, like using AI to track behavior without the care is like maybe a security camera with a broken lens, right? It might capture something, but it might get the information wrong. And that's not fair to students. So those are some things that I think are ethical considerations that teachers need to be aware of when utilizing AI to track student performance. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
My name is Gayatri Salvi. I am studying 7th grade. Can I ask one question, ma'am?
Yes, you may, Gatari.
How does AI personalize learning, and what are its limitations in addressing diverse learning needs?
Thank you for your question, Gatari. So, AI and the one thing I absolutely love about AI is that it can help educators to personalize students' learning needs. Um, I'm not sure how much your teacher shared about me, but I worked for Microsoft for the last 7 years, specifically on a tool that was a video discussion tool. The last 2 years, I worked on a tool called Copilot. It's Microsoft's AI tool, right? And so when my team was charged with presenting to educators so that they can understand how to utilize this tool, we made sure that they just weren't utilizing the tool to generate a lesson because you can get a lesson from anywhere. We wanted to make sure that educators knew how to prompt so that they can give their students better experiences, more personalized experiences. So AI tools like maybe adaptive quizzes or maybe tutoring bots can maybe adjust the difficulty of content based upon how a student performs. So a student might not be as frustrated if they have content that really is adaptive to their needs. I've also seen this work wonders when it comes to the personalized learning pathways. So if a student is really into space, right? And they just find that topic very interesting. If they are in like a subject area where it's not really about the content, maybe it's just about the reading and the vocabulary, etc., it's okay for that student to read about space and astronauts, where another student might read a different type of theme or content that's going to be personalized to their interests and their needs. We have to remember, though, that these systems often assume that all students learn in the same digital way, which is not true, right? And so that's why it's so important for people who are building these tools to really understand cultural context, differences in neurodiversity among students, or even language nuances, right? I'm sure many of you might speak more than one language, and you might notice that it may give you an output that may be great in one language and maybe not so great in another language. So that's a limitation. And that limitation is not fair. And that's why we need to make sure that we have what we call diverse teams, teams of people from different backgrounds, speak different languages, look different on a team so that those issues can be surfaced. So let's say if you learn better through stories or maybe examples of something that happens locally, but AI only gives you information that happens in the US, that's not fair. And it's going to be more difficult for you to learn, right? Same thing for me. If I'm learning something and it's only making connections as to something that happened in India that I have no idea about, I'm going to be lost with that information, right? So AI personalization is like maybe tailoring a shirt or creating a shirt based upon measurements, right? I could never get into a size extra small shirt. It's not going to happen, right? I need a shirt that's going to be made for me and that will fit me appropriately. So, forgetting to ask like what style a person likes, and is so important. All right. So we got to make sure that it not only fits, but it feels right when it comes to utilizing AI for personalized learning.
My name is Nandakishore, a ninth grade student from JPHS Alvaram. Here my question is, what measures should schools take to ensure data privacy when using AI-powered educational tools?
Hi, Nana Kishore. It's nice to meet you. What measures, okay, should schools take? All right. So this question is very, very important. We can't start utilizing things without thinking first about data privacy and other important security aspects. So schools have to treat student data like a treasure. So let's say something you really treasure, right? You wouldn't misuse something that you treasure. You wouldn't lose something that you treasure. You would protect it, right? So we have to guard student data with rules. We have to utilize trusted tools. Every tool that is created, they are required to state how they are utilizing student data. They have to share, their privacy information with their users. Okay. And one other thing that's really important on our end is that we have to make sure as educators that students and families understand how that information is used, right? So the company has to think through those things. They have to make sure that all of this information is available on their websites so that the people in schools who are making those decisions have information that they can go from. And I will say I'm not only an educator, but I'm also a parent. I know most of you said you are in grade 8. I have a daughter that's in grade 9. She's 15 years old. And I have a daughter that's in grade 6 who's 12 years old. And as a parent and as an educator, I advocate for transparency and clear policies because I want my daughters to also be protected. So before using an AI learning app, schools should ask a couple questions. The first question is, what data does it collect? Okay, they have to think about what information are they going to be getting from anything that is put inside of that system. The second question that they should ask is who can see that information, right? Because we have to make sure that, someone who is not going to utilize the information for, inappropriate causes has access to that. The third question is it stored safely? So you'll see on many companies' websites, it'll tell you where information is stored. And for many regions, they require that information is stored locally. So you may have a data center somewhere in your area. I am sure the leaders within your school, your region advocate that the data that is given is stored somewhere locally to you in some capacity. And another thing that, we keep in mind in the tech world is if parents can choose to opt out. Parents can say, I don't want my students or my child to utilize this platform because I'm not comfortable with how they're going to utilize this data. So protecting student data is like maybe a lock for like a diary or a safe, right? If someone wants to read it or someone wants to access it, you are going to want to know who is the person, why do they want it, and what they're going to do with it. And so those are the types of questions that schools should have in the forefront of their mind when utilizing AI powered educational tools.
Can AI help bridge the education gap in under-resourced regions? And if so, how?
Right. So, Kaja, I love this question because I am a firm believer that AI can help bridge the education gap in under-resourced regions. So, I've seen this happen over time, and it gets me really, really excited. A lot of times, resources and information are limited or cost a lot of money, right? With AI tools that are utilizing data sets from all over, it allows more access to information. So with mobile first tools, so for a lot of under-resourced regions, there may not be a wealth of hardware devices. So mobile first is something that tech teams are challenged to build forward for. Also, voice enabled learning. So that once again, that language barrier is removed. Also, AI tutors can help in under resourced areas. So, in an area where there may not be a teacher that works with a smaller group of students, there are some regions where there's one teacher and there's hundreds of students in one classroom. And so this can help with having a personalized AI tutor to help the students in a remote, underserved area that can access quality resources in the same way as a student who is in a region that has the teachers and the resources readily available. The key here is making these tools accessible and relevant to local needs. So think about like your favorite AI chatbot. I mentioned Copilot before, which is Microsoft's tool, and I absolutely love it. But I also use ChatGPT on an everyday basis. I use Google Gemini on an everyday basis. I use Perplexity on an everyday basis. So think about an AI chatbot that speaks maybe local languages and helps students practice maybe math or science when teachers aren't available. That can help close the gap for a student in a record time. And there's a lot of people doing research on that right now of how AI can help close these gaps. Especially if the teacher is not always available. Like you may see your teacher for only a small part of the day, but you can have an AI chatbot right here in your pocket with a phone, right? Or your parents' phone. So one thing I want you to think about is AI in education is like, you know what solar power is? Where you receive energy from the sun, right? So it's almost like solar powered lanterns in places with no electricity, right? It's not going to replace daylight. It's not going to replace the teachers, but it can also provide access to learning when and where it's needed, right? So I appreciate your question, Kaja. And, I hope that this will help make smarter and, more thought-provoking people, and help bridge that education gap for everybody, because everyone deserves to learn and everyone just deserves a high quality education.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. And here is my question. I would like to ask one question. Let us take break from AI to Louisiana. I have a question. Most of my students who are attending this particular session is so curious to visit USA because they have their own dreams to fulfill. Could you please tell us what is life like in Louisiana?
Oh, yes, I would love to tell you. Okay, so Louisiana is in the southernmost part of the United States. So we have a very temperature here. So right now, I would say it is maybe around like 75 degrees. At the low, and the highs might get up to 90 degrees. So it can get very hot here at times, and that's in Fahrenheit. Um, as far as the climate and the terrain, the area in which I live in Louisiana is under sea level. We are below sea level, and so it is very humid here. We have a lot of mosquitoes. I live between a lake and a river, so there's lots of water sources in this area. New Orleans was a big port city. Um, and I would say, as far as the culture, New Orleans is a very beautiful place with a very rich history of having people from various areas of the world um, live here because it was a port area. So there's a lot of diversity here in this area. So that means that what comes diversity, everything gets better. The food is incredible. The music is incredible because it's taking in all these different cultures. So it is a really interesting and fun place to live, and to work. I have lived in one other part of the United States in my life, and I came back to New Orleans because I loved it so much.
Yes.
To one day visit India.
Yes.
What area in
Yeah,
India are you?
we are part of Andhra Pradesh. It is located in the southern part of India. It's close to
Okay.
Bay of Bengal. I will share the map.
That sounds incredible. So I definitely have hopes and dreams to visit. Because of the educator community. I have lots of friends across various regions in India, and it is my hope to one day visit and see the beauty and wonder of your country, because it is a very beautiful country with very beautiful customs that I absolutely love. And so all your festivals are incredible.
Yes.
And so I would love to experience it firsthand one day.
Yes, if you happen to visit India, I think you're most welcome to my school. I think we are going to give you the hospitality for your stay.
Well,
It's our
we'll have to
privilege.
talk more. I would love to be there.
Please, please. Okay, thank you so much for your time. Before we wind up this session, may I request you to give a message? And if it is possible, please take us outside your room so that we can see outside weather.
Oh, you want to see outside? Okay.
Yeah.
So let me take this off. Unplug. Walking through my house. All right. Can you see? Because it's going to be a little dark outside, but I'll turn lights on. Just want to make sure that my window, it's dark in my house because my kids are sleeping, but I can turn on some lights. More lights. And more lights. I'll show you this. This is the front of my house. I love art. So I have
Yes,
art.
it's really amazing.
I love
Absolutely amazing.
art. Lots and
Yes.
lots of art. Okay, here's outside. Turn on some lights outside. So it's early in the morning, so you can hear the birds.
Yeah, yes. Early morning there. Wow, quite amazing. Yes. It's almost 6 o'clock there.
It's almost 6 a.m. So
Yeah.
probably we'll have sunrise in maybe 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know if you can hear the birds.
Chirping
They're
of birds.
chirping
Yes, yes.
away.
We could hear. We could hear. Yes.
Yes. So yeah, the
Yes.
sun will be coming up soon.
Yes.
I put lights on, so that's why it looks a little
Yes.
lighter than what it actually
Yes.
is.
Thank you
But
so much, Jernia. Could you please give a message to my students?
yes. Okay. So a message to you students. First and foremost, thank you so much for inviting me to your class today. The one thing that I want you to remember is that you have the power to make this world a better place. So whether that is with AI or another topic that you are interested in, if you want to be a teacher or a doctor or someone who is a therapist, just be the best that you can be and treat people the way that you want to be treated. And nothing can go wrong. So just have your passions in the forefront, do what you absolutely love to do, and you'll have an incredible life.